It's time to sew in the signatures into my Ocean Eyes junk journal. Hui, exciting. Hi there, this is Luise Heinzel, and today I'm showing you a 6-hole binding method for your junk journal. Okay, so let's go right into it. So first of all, we want to make some holes into the spine of our journal. And for this plan, I'm using this grid paper. This has these little squares on it, and each square is half of a centimeter. So that's really nice for me. Here in Austria, we have centimeters. If you have inch, of course, you have to use something that works for you. So yeah, in the first step, I'm cutting here the right size of my spine. So I'm cutting this piece exactly in the width and the height of the spine so that I can make my holes later and that I can make sure that they are in the right place. Then I fold this paper in half and find out where to make my little marks to make my holes. For this middle holes, both middle holes, I like to have more distance. So this is yeah, a little bit more than on the bottom and on the top. And we will need 6 holes in total. The ones on the top and the bottom can be closer to each other than the ones in the middle. Belonging to the fact that I have a really thick material for my spine here, I had to use a hammer, I hope that's the right word, and my awl to make the holes, as you can see here, to come through this material. If you have a lighter material for the spine, of course, you can use your awl as it's meant to be without using any tools that you find in your man's garage or wherever. So here we have the holes now. I'm really happy about that because they came out really regular and yeah, as planned. The next thing that we are gonna need is this little thing, this tool that you can see in the frame now. Many of you have asked me about the name of this. I don't know the name, but it's really helpful if you have this. I think it's currently unavailable on Amazon, so I'm so sorry. I can't give you a link or something like that, but you can also poke your holes by laying your signature to a thicker book and then poke through it with your awl. So the first thing I'm going to do is I go through the first hole in my first row of the holes, so on the left bottom corner, so that the thread comes into the book like this, so that I have a starting point. And here I have to measure something that's probably not your cup of tea because my signatures are a little bit higher than my whole journal is. So I've planned that the signatures go out a little bit on the top and the bottom. In this case, that's 0.9 centimeters, and I have to have that in mind when I poke my holes now. Probably you have a journal where the signatures are as high as the cover is, and then you don't have to do that. So yeah, here I had a little problem with my light and my electricity. Sorry, but it went back. It's a little bit strange in this caravan. Sometimes we have no electricity when it's raining really heavy, and that was the case in this filming process. Yeah, so in the next step, I'm lining up my signatures, so I mean the papers of the signatures, so that every paper is in the right place. I'm fixing that with some paper clips, as you can see here, and then I use my template. And exactly there where the holes are, this row of holes, I have to poke my holes into the signature, of course. I made sure that the template is 0.9 centimeters away from the bottom of the signature. But as I said, if you don't have this special binding thing, you don't have to care about that. Just lay your template to your signature and poke the holes. And here I've decided that I want to have some special effect or a focal point for this middle of the signature. And I've also made that because this red of this book page behind is really strong. And you know, these Ocean Eyes colors are mainly blue and beige. Only a few spots of orange and red. So I wanted to have this really popping out at this point. And at the same time balanced. So I will show you in a second how I use this middle thing. So now I'm taking the signature, going in through the first hole from the outside so that the thread comes to the inside. Then I go back to the outside, and that's all the same with every signature and every hole. Go in and out and in and out, and of course through your cover as well. So here I'm coming back to the next hole. First I go through the cover because the material is so thick, and then I go through the signature itself. Make sure that the thread is, yeah, tight, but not too tight, so that you have some flexibility. And then I'm going through these little things that I've chosen for the middle of this signature, this special effect that I've talked about a few seconds ago. So I'm just binding it in with the thread and the normal binding. So as you can see, it's no big deal. It's no magic or something like that. Some of you have asked me about this little thing with one of the videos of my last journals. There I made it really extremely, and yeah, that's all. So that's the answer to this question. That's all. So you can also use only fabric or some scraps. Some butterflies would be great if the theme of the journal would fit. Then it looks like this butterfly or dragonflies or whatever is in the middle of this thing, and it looks like it flies out of the book. It looks really, really great. But I think also with these little scraps, it looks really interesting. And I like to decide these things when I'm binding the signatures in, and not when I'm planning the signature itself. So here I make sure that the thread is really tight now. So you can, you have to, yeah, control that if the signature is really there where it has to be. Then I'm going in through the next hole on the top. So I mean from the outside to the inside. So that I can sew in the next signature the same way, but now from the top to the bottom. So I'm taking this little tool again, lining up my papers here. And in this point, you can also, of course, make some changes if you are not sure if you like the order of your papers. So this is the point where you have to decide that if you want to change anything. Sometimes it can be really struggling, I know. But yeah, you can decide if you want it like you have it, and then you can place it really, really, I don't have the word, there where you want it, really exactly, so sorry. And then you can take your template again and make the holes in the same way like I did it before. Just place the template on the right place. I've measured this little distance, 0.9 centimeters, and then I've poked the holes. With this template, for me, this is really easy, but of course you can use any template that you want to make for yourself. So yeah, it's, I think, a personal thing how you want to do this. And then I'm going back to the bottom with this in and out stitching through all of the 6 holes, of course. And if you have a spine that's really sturdy, like mine here, please make sure that the thread in this point is not too tight. So let a little bit of, yeah, flexibility to your thread so that you have the chance to go in and out of the holes really, really easily. For this middle of the spine, I've decided to make something different. So I used this beaded thread here, cut a piece off, and I've sealed the ending of this thread with some glue to make sure that these little beads can't fall off. Beads, I don't know, you know what I mean. And then I just placed it into there, and this thread will hold it in place later. You can also use some sari silk for this, some strips of fabric, some, yeah, whatever you have, some special things that you can put in the middle of this signature. I think it's a really nice thing, and you have also the possibility to let this peek out on the bottom of the journal. You will see that later, because I made this so long that it can peek out of the bottom, and that looks really interesting. So it's, yeah, here you can see it. It's like a really special thing when the book is closed and these little tiny things come out there. Okay, so then I am sewing in the rest of the signatures. So here I'm showing you the last one. So I did the same method with all of the others, and this is the last one. So there I'm on the bottom again, and then I'm sewing back to the top with this in and out and in and out method. And I want to show you what I do with the rest of my thread. So that was a question as well. When you have finished the sewing, then of course you are coming out with your thread to the outside of the book, so to the outside of the spine. And to make that really, really secure so that this thread can't, you have to fasten it in some way. I have, don't know if that's a trick or whatever, but I will show you that in a second. Here I'm struggling a little bit with this last thread. That's always the same thing. The last signature is, this little bitchy thing. Sorry for that word, but when you have sewn in all that stuff and the last thing makes trouble, then it's not so nice. Okay, so here I'm going through the next little loop there and making a knot, as you can see there. Then I make another knot just by going through the loops that I already have from the other signatures, and I'm doing that the whole way on the width of this journal cover, so that I have several knots on this end. So that not only makes it sturdy, but as you can see, you have this line of thread on the top. And when you want to glue something to the spine to make it hidden, then it's much easier to glue that. So here's my piece that I want to glue to the spine. That's also only some fabric and lace that I have sewn together. And first of all, I make sure that this thing is in the right place. So I try to find a little spot on the lace so that I later, when the glue is on top, know where I have to put it, and that it don't takes too much time to put the fabric to the spine, because my bookbinders glue that I'm using here is drying really fast. If you have a fabric like I am having here that's really irregular on the surface, then please make sure that you have enough glue so that the thread and the fabric is covered totally with glue, and also the spaces in between of the thread and the fabric are covered with glue. That makes the whole thing much more sturdy in the end. So that's my experience. That's the reason why I'm doing that. Then I'm placing this thing here to the place where it has to go. Make sure, if you have lace or some strange fabric like I'm having here, that you press that really well, and that this is really flat on the spine in the end. So as you could see a second ago, I only made the glue to the spine, and now I'm putting the glue underneath this lace. I like to do that separately so that the glue can't dry too fast, and that I can see really exactly where I have to put the glue. In this case, of course, the glue has to go only underneath of the lace and not to the rest of the cover of the fabric, because otherwise in the end you would probably see the glue, and that's not what we want. I like to go over this with my paintbrush as well to make sure that everything is really good in place, and especially on this edge where the cover meets the spine, it has to be really, really exactly glued. And I make sure that it's really, really good in place. So take your time to figure that out. Don't use too less glue so that you have the chance to move that around a little bit and to make sure that it's glued really, really well. So then I can press this whole thing here with my fingers. And I like to go over this as well with my paintbrush. That also makes the lace really sturdy when you have a little bit of glue on top of the lace, and it gives it this, you will see that in a second, this really vintage feeling. Belonging to the fact that, belonging is always the right word. So depending on what you have put to the cover. In my case, it's distress oxide that I have used to, dye this original fabric that I put to the cover, this oxide comes through a little bit when I put the glue on top, of course, because it's water soluble. So now here I'm trying to make this effect a little bit more extreme. So that was not an accident. I made that, yeah, because I like it. And I've distressed this edges of the lace a little bit as well, so that you get this really cool vintage effect. I really like that in combination with this bookbinders glue. It makes this, yeah, you know, this really special feeling. And then I came to the idea that I want to have some, you know, this blinky things. And do you know what I mean? There's little beads here on top, because I had the feeling, so even if I thought my cover is finished, yeah, I thought this little things on the spine are really elegant, and they have this shiny thing, this glittery thing, and I wanted to have something of that feeling on the cover as well. So I decided to put those really tiny turquoise things here to the cover. I used some bookbinders glue for that as well and dried it with my heat gun. And that looked, yeah, okay to me. But then I came to the idea that I want to have more of this bling bling stuff. So I used this thing that's originally meant to make a necklace out of it. It's made out of metal, and I thought that would fit really well. So yeah, I tried to get this into this little slots of the fish's net that I've used. But yeah, while I did that, I realized that this would be way too much. And because I couldn't fix it totally, and I don't want it to fix it totally, I thought that could be really dangerous in the end when you use the journal and you have this loose necklace there. It was not that what I wanted, because I thought probably the journal could be destroyed if you, you know, I have some problems with this hanging necklace. So I came to the idea to use these little guys here. I struggled around where to put them, but then I decided that I want to make a little tassel out of them. So I took a bulb pin, like you can see here, and I've just put these things here through it. And yeah, they have these little beads. And that was a little bit of a problem as well with this necklace pieces. So I decided that I want to have this color of this necklace, this metal thing there on the tassel as well. I thought it would be a great combination for this. So to fix this and to make that stay in place, I've used a piece of this fish net, made a knot, and then I put some glue on top so that this is really, really sturdy in the end, that it can't come apart. I dried the glue with my heat gun, sorry, and that worked really well, really well. But of course the bulb pin gets a little bit hot, so if you want to do that, please make sure that you don't burn your fingers. Yeah, then I've put that here to the top of the lace of my journal cover, and I was really happy in the end. So hopefully this could be a little inspiration for you. What do you think about this? Is this too much? Do you like it? So what do you think about that? Thank you very much for watching. See you the next time. Bye bye.